Good evening, you're watching Estuary TV News. Coming up, separated at birth, the town of Kermington finds a long-lost twin in the Netherlands. Little Dr. Doolittle's, the RSPCA encourages children to talk to the animals. And I'll be talking to Paul Bowman about fish, sauces and saucy fish. Welcome to Estuary TV News. I'm Hugh Riches. First of all, it's over to Richard Morris for the news headlines.
Hello there. They've been doing it for 12 years and today Young Seafood announced to us that they'll continue sponsoring Grimsby Town Football Club for the 2015-16 season. The investment will continue the relationship between the firm and the club, as the Chief Executive of Young Seafood, Pete Ward, explained.
Where we do make charitable monies available, we want to do it for local charities if we can. Grimsby Town are a fundamental part, an institution of the local community. We've been around for a long while as well. Many of our employees are fans and their families are fans, and so we think it's good use of our money from a local community point of view. I think this is one of the very important relationships we have with the local community. It's one of our preferred partners where we like to put our money, and so absolutely I don't see this ending anytime soon.
Concern is growing for the safety of a 13-year-old girl missing from Withensea. Sophie Stanton was last seen on Monday the 9th of February at 8:30 in the morning. She was wearing a Withensea High School uniform, although may have changed and could also be wearing black trainers, navy tracksuit bottoms and a purple Gap hooded top. Anyone with any kind of information as to her whereabouts is urged to contact Humberside Police. The North Sea Wildlife Trust is unhappy with a government decision to cut back the number of marine conservation zones. 3 of the zones, including one in Hornsea, were slated to come to our area, but now there will be only 2, with one that was located offshore in the North Sea being axed. Dr. Lee Michael Howarth from the North Sea Wildlife Trust explained to us why the zones were important.
Yeah, so the North Sea Wildlife Trusts definitely believe that instead of cutting back on how many marine conservation zones they propose, we believe that the UK really does require much more protection across the whole entire coastlines of the United Kingdom. We've seen dramatic declines. We used to be very famous for our cod, haddock and hake fisheries. And unfortunately, most of these fisheries simply do not exist today.
That's all from me for now, and I'll be back with more news soon. Don't forget, if you've got any news for us in the meantime, please contact us on Grimsby 01472 31553. You can contact us on Facebook or Twitter by searching us, or you can email news@estuary.tv. Bye for now.
It's a historic friendship that goes back to the Second World War and food drops over Europe. Now the town of Kermington is officially twinning with the Rotterdam suburb of Terbrugge, with a ceremony planned in a few months' time. Dave Nunn explores these fraternal relations.
It's a relationship that goes back over 70 years into the manner food drops. Now the village of Kermington in North Lincolnshire is officially twinning with the suburb of Terbrugge in Rotterdam.
In 1944-45, the Germans still occupied Holland, and they wouldn't let the Holland transport use the roads. So the only way they could supply Rotterdam was by canal. And that winter of 44-45, it was very severe, and the canals froze. So they couldn't get any supplies into Rotterdam.
Airdrops from 166 Squadron, based where Humberside Airport now is, airdropped those supplies into Rotterdam. Their assistance has never been forgotten, which is why, for the local community, this will be an unforgettable event.
Well, you know, we've been spending quite a lot of time trying to build our local community up, and when you think that there's over 22 members of our community now taking part in this event, and they're all paying for the trip themselves, it just shows that there's an awful lot of interest in what our squadron did during the war. I think what it'll do is bring the community together, actually in Kermington itself, but also it will help us understand what happened in Holland during the war.
The twinning will be at the centre of the celebrations, but they'll stand for something more symbolic, with ambassadors, royalty and even the Germans invited to take part in the event.
The celebration's coming off next year, on the 2nd of May, which we're attending. It's going to be a very large, with royalty, a lot of ambassadors, and in fact they've even invited the Germans to attend. So it's going to be a very large event and a big day of celebrations. And so part of that celebration, as Richard has already said, will be the twinning of Dagobert and Kermington.
The twinning is one example of how actions taken during the war saved the lives of people overseas and fostered friendships that will last through the ages.
You're watching Estuary TV News. A little later, we'll be putting big questions to little kids.
We are from Killingholme Primary School.
And Dan Kemp will bring you all the sports news. Doctors and presumably fishmongers recommend that we eat at least 2 portions of fish per week. It's good for our brains and pretty much every other bit. But few of us manage to consume on that scale. During half-term next week, School of Fish events will encourage the preparation and consumption of seafood so easy to cook that even a 6-year-old can do it. I'm joined now by Paul Bowman from the Saucy Fish Company, which is organising this event. Paul, thank you very much for coming in.
You're welcome.
What are these School of Fish events?
Basically, it's an opportunity for us to go down to Soho to a kitchen in London, where we're going to open the restaurant up to the general public and have the children in the kitchen preparing the meals.
And it's your company, the Saucy Fish Company, that's
It is
organising
indeed, yes.
And the Saucy Fish Company is based in
Grimsby.
Right. Okay.
Yes, so just down the road.
And so, sort of, how many people do you employ in?
Oh, around about 1,000 people, just
Right.
over. Yeah,
Okay.
so.
Now, the event is trying to demonstrate that it's not difficult to eat more fish.
Exactly.
Who will be taking part and what will they be doing?
From our organisation, I'll be in the kitchen with the 6-year-olds, and basically it's an opportunity for us to showcase that fish isn't hard to cook with. It's that easy that children can do it. So that's one of the reasons behind the Saucy Fish Company, is to promote how easy it is to cook with fish.
And presumably this is a little more complicated than just fish fingers. This is a slightly more
yes.
and slightly more imaginative and tasty than
It
that.
is, yes.
So what sort of dishes will your 6-year-old culinary geniuses be preparing?
They'll be doing 4 products from the Saucy Fish Company. So the first product will be the salmon, chilli, lime and ginger, which is one of our hero lines. Sea bass with a beurre blanc sauce. We'll be doing the squid, prawn and chorizo bag with a sherry sauce, and then we're going to be doing the traditional smoked haddock with a vintage cheddar cheese sauce.
It sounds fantastic. It
Yes.
sounds extremely delicious, especially the one with the sherry sauce. That's very exotic.
Yeah, that's one of our new products, which is has just recently launched, which we're very proud of.
And how long would it take, say, that dish?
Yes.
How long would it take to make from start to finish?
11 minutes.
Right.
11 minutes. So it's in a full bake bag. So
Right.
that just gets placed into the oven, and it's concealed. So all the fish and the sauce combines together, and within 11 minutes you've got a perfect dish.
Now that's your Saucy Fish Company.
It is.
Prepared fish.
Yes.
If you were doing that from raw ingredients,
Yes.
how long would that process take?
Obviously, to make your sherry butter sauce, it would probably take anything from 15 to 20 minutes, and then preparing the fish. So we've taken all of the preparation out, and for the consumer it's just 11 minutes from start to finish.
So it really is just the application of
It is.
heat.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what it is.
You're trying to encourage us to eat more fish, obviously for your own commercial
Yeah.
reasons, although the other fish providing companies are available,
Of
I
course.
should emphasise. But you're providing us with a lot of the fish and some
We
of the
are.
more imaginatively tasty
Yes.
dishes of ready prepared fish.
Yeah.
How long's the Saucy Fish Company been going?
It's our 5th year this year, which we're very proud of, and the main objective is to get more people eating fish up and down the country. And as part of Saucy Fish, that we do that for them. It's basically fish minus the fuss. So we completely eradicate all the pre-misconception of people being scared of handling fish. We've completely taken that out, so it's easy for the consumer to prepare.
Why are people scared of handling fish? I mean, I
Yeah.
can see people would be scared of handling fish if A, the fish is still alive, and
Yeah,
B, the fish is
of course.
bigger than I am.
Yeah.
But other than circumstances which I've known,
Yeah.
but other than those circumstances, why would people be scared of fish?
I think it's a common misconception. I think from many years ago, if you think back to your grandparents, your grandma would have understood how to fillet fish or prepare fish in the home, whereas that's been lost through generations, and people just don't know what to do with it. They're not taught, or and they're put off by how it looks and not sure what to do with it.
Well, I think fish can look beautiful, but why?
Yeah,
But is it not just people are too lazy to pick the bones out of it?
Not so much lazy. I just think that they're unsure of what to do and what part of the fish that they keep and what part of the fish that they throw away. So I think they're not quite sure what actually to do with it.
It does have tremendous health benefits,
It does,
doesn't
yes.
it?
Yeah, very much so. I think fish, you could be perceived for the mind, body and soul. Obviously it's naturally low in fat and it's very high in omega-3 with fatty acids, so it's very good. I mean, if you replace your protein twice a week with fish, you're going to have a much healthier diet.
But fish is protein as well, isn't it?
Yeah, of course, exactly.
I don't get too chemical here, please, but it's
Okay.
low in fat and it's high in fatty acids. Surely you want slim acids, don't you?
Well, yeah, obviously you need a healthy balance, and obviously with fish that gives you that healthy balance.
And it's supposed to be good for the mind.
It is very
good
much
for the
so.
brain, anyway.
Yeah.
I suppose.
Yes, from mind, body and soul. So it's, I think, if you look back at when people do exams and stuff, people say to load up on fish because it's brain food. So that's one of the conceptions.
Where do you source your fish?
Our fish is all sustainably sourced, so we've got a fantastic technical team and we work very close with the MSC, which is the Marine Steward Council, so we make sure all our fish is sustainably sourced.
And so you presumably you buy the fish in the UK?
Yeah, we buy from the UK and abroad from Iceland, etc. So yeah.
Okay, because I mean, I just want to emphasise that you have one of the world's biggest fish markets just down the road from your,
of course, yeah.
your factory. But how can you tell? You say you buy British fish.
Yeah.
That sounds absolutely wonderful. But fish don't carry passports.
They don't. No.
They don't really tend to respect territorial water boundaries or anything like that.
No.
So how do you know that if you're bringing in say you don't do mackerel, I know, but if you're bringing in say cod or halibut, can you be sure that you're not taking them? You can be sure that you're taking them from waters where you're allowed to take them.
Yes.
Where we're allowed to take them.
Yeah, I think obviously from where we buy it from, if we're labelling that it's British, we'll have all the due diligence to state that it is from Britain, and vice versa if it's coming from Iceland, or we will make sure that we've got everything to back up that where it's actually come from.
Now, experts in these things monitor fish stocks, and I haven't the faintest idea how they can know how many cod there are in the North Sea.
Yeah.
But they do somehow. The sustainability is very important. Why is it that we can't just farm fish?
Because if you take too much fish out of the water, then obviously there isn't enough to reproduce, and then you're going to be left, because obviously it's a natural source, you're going to be left with nothing left in the water.
But that's because we have, it's the last act of hunter-gathering, isn't it? We go out and catch wild animals.
Yeah, we do.
But why can't we just have a great big tank somewhere and fill it with cod's eggs?
Well, I think obviously people appreciate the fact that it's fished. It's not put into a tank where it's actually you're not looking at it from
it's tastier because people have actually put their lives in danger for going out and getting it. Is that the added value?
You can say that, but obviously with it being in the sea, it's got the natural parameters for it to move about. It's not restrained, so naturally, for a chicken, if it's an organic chicken, it's free range and it can roam about.
What's your favourite fish, Paul?
Turbot.
Why?
Because it's nice and meaty.
Okay,
yeah.
And what sort of sauce would you put on your turbot? Keeping it simple.
Keeping it simple. I'd just do. I'd put it with a nice salsa.
Paul, perfect. Thank you very much for coming in. It's not often that children share their learning time with cats and dogs, but that's what's happening at the RSPCA's Wilberforce Centre, where children learn about caring for and raising animals, as well as more serious issues such as cruelty. James Dunn went along to find out more.
I've got a border collie, for instance. It's a little dog that used to be a working dog on a farm.
This new classroom in the RSPCA's Hull Centre is already booked out every Friday afternoon until the end of the academic year. And although it's a welcome afternoon out for these children, they're here to learn.
Ultimately, it's about the children realising the responsibilities that they have towards an animal. That animal isn't easy to look after, and if they're going to take an animal on, they're not just going to do it light-heartedly, or they're going to really think about it, because ultimately we want all these cages here at the RSPCA to be empty. We want that message about animal cruelty going out and animal welfare that's really important, going out through these children, back to their schools and back into their communities.
Oh, look at this,
And the RSPCA hopes the message will go further than just the children who enter this room.
Yeah, we'd like them to become what we call our young ambassadors, that they're going to go back and actually spread the message, because not everyone sees what this centre's about, not everyone knows what the RSPCA is. And our sort of ethos is that if we can teach them young about this idea about animal welfare and trying to prevent cruelty to animals, then come a generation or two's time, then there will be no need for it, because they will have spread that message for us, and that they will know how to treat animals in the future.
But with all the excitement of those cute cats and dogs, did the message really sink in, or are we just barking up the wrong tree?
I've learned how to look after an animal, how to feed an animal, how to take care of it, how to entertain it.
I've learned that some people go with some animals while some people don't go with them kinds of animals.
Yeah, and they're being treated badly, and the ones that are not for reserve have been taken for animal cruelty and court order. I've learnt about the what animal goes with what owner. If someone works full days every week, I don't think an animal would go with them.
Time now for big questions to little kids, this week from the small sages of Killinghome Primary School.
We are from Killinghome Primary School. How can we ensure that farmers get a fair price for their milk?
Share it out in Britain, but not in other countries. So we get all the money in Britain, but the other countries don't.
The government should stand up and make sure that British farmers will get the money from their milk.
Well, I think we should ensure farmers get a fair price for the milk, because if we don't, they will stop making milk because they'll go bankrupt.
Milk prices need setting at a certain price so that farmers always make at least a small profit, so that they can stay in business. This has to be decided by the farmers and the government.
When farmers produce surplus milk, the profit they make could be used to help farmers when they don't produce enough milk.
Well, we could make sure the prices don't go too low, and we can make sure that the prices don't go too high, so they're not too poor or too rich. They're in the middle like everybody should be.
Time now to discover what's going on in Butterford. James Dunn spoke to Ron Urry, the town's mayor.
At the moment, the biggest issue is development. We have had two plans put in, one for Yaddlethorpe High Street and one for Home, for a proposed housing development, which we have objected to strongly. And that's about a month ago went to the government planning inspector, who was adjudicated on it, and they should be back to us by about June or July time. But that's the biggest issue. I'm pleased to notice that the Friends of the Beck, which is a voluntary group which is looking after the Bottsford Beck, which is a stream that runs through the middle of Bottsford, and they're looking after it, have just been shortlisted for the Diamond Jubilee Water Care Award by Keep Britain Tidy. The winners to be announced on 12th of February. The bulk of the town council at the moment is taken up by planning applications, and we're on the rundown now, as you know, to the general election in May. So there's not a great deal of business going on at the moment. We try and keep it to a minimum, but the vast majority, as I say, is planning applications which we have to go check up on, then send our results into North Links Council. They're the planning authority. We have numerous other things to do. It's like anybody, like any household. We have bits and bobs that come through, things like footpaths. We have to check on, and we've had a problem with a couple of footpaths in Buttersford at the moment. That's still ongoing. The parks, we look after 3 parks, and I'm looking through last month's minutes, and of course, no new business on any of the parks issues. As I say, winter time is a bad time for getting. It's a good time for us actually for no new business, but for talking about it, it's a bad time because there's nothing to come up really.
Over to Dan Kemp now for the sport.
We've got two sides in action tonight. Hull City are looking to build on their point at Premier League champions Manchester City from the weekend as they host Aston Villa. New striker Darman Doy is in contention to feature against Villa, who will be overtaken by the Tigers with a win. Scunthorpe United and Coventry City both sit just clear of the League One relegation zone and face each other tonight. The Iron are 5 points clear of the drop zone, whilst tonight's opponents are 2 points worse off. North Ferriby United's FA Trophy semi-final opponents will be decided tonight too. Dover and Bath play off for the chance to play the Villagers over 2 legs to earn a place at Wembley in the final. The first leg is due to be played on Saturday, February the 21st at the winner of tonight's game, and Ferriby hosts the second leg 7 days later. We've got some rugby union results to bring you from the weekend too. Hull Ionians' Sam Wilson stole the headlines with a first half hat-trick as the promotion chasers defeated Birmingham and Solihull 50-17. All this before 5 second half tries at Brantington Park, which his eyes maintained pace with the leaders Amptill, who defeated Harrogate. Elsewhere, Hull UFC lost 13-15 at Caldy, whilst in Midlands 3, Scunthorpe lost 31-10 at Old Hillsonians. And back to football finally, Hull City centre-half Harry Maguire has signed a 1-month loan with Wigan Athletic. He'll go straight into the squad for tonight's game with Nottingham Forest, whilst Grimsby Town midfielder Scott Nielsen has had his time with the club cut short. He had been training with the youth team squad after seemingly falling out of favour at Blundell Park. Don't hesitate to get in touch with any sports stories. Bye for now.
Thanks, Dan. That's all we have time for today, I'm afraid. If you have a story for us, please do go to our Facebook or Twitter pages. Details on the screen. Email news at estuary.tv or phone Grimsby 31553. Just before we go, I'll go back to Paul and just remind us, Paul, where is this event, the School for Fish?
It's at a London-based restaurant in Soho, and it is at Stevenson Kitchen, and that's next Thursday the 19th.
That seems an awfully long way away. If you happen to live on the banks of the Humber,
Yes.
people can get their hands on fish here.
They certainly can at your local Tesco store. That's not a problem.
Okay. Yeah. Oh, you don't sell in any of the other supermarkets?
We do sell in the other supermarkets, yes.
Okay. All right, Paul. Thank you very much
You're
for
welcome.
coming in.
Thank you.
Until tomorrow, good evening.
Hello and welcome to Estuary TV's weather. Any early mist or fog will clear on Wednesday to give a mild and dry day, with the best of the sunshine in the east of the region and a maximum temperature of 9 degrees. Dry on Thursday with some sunny spells.